Hello everyone, this is Gene and I'm back with another video. So today's the odd, rare Sunday video, but I figured let me get something out to end the week. So I have a question for you all. What do Gina Carano, Anita Sarkieesian, and Anna that Star Wars girl all have in common? Well, they're all women, obviously. Interesting enough, all of them have dark hair, black hair. But also, they have been subjected to very strong online harassment. Difference is, two of those women have been unjustly subjected to online harassment for simply having different opinions, and one woman is a grifter who starts trouble and then cries harassment when she gets pushback. I will leave you to guess which two women are being unjustly harassed online and which one starts fights, picks fights, makes issues out of nothing, and then when she gets told off, cries about it. I think you can pretty much figure out which two I'm talking about and which one I'm talking about. So, what I wanted to talk about today was these three women and the idea of harassment online, in particular, harassment of a woman online. And what I have noticed about this, is that if a woman, excuse me, nothing fudge, nothing. But anyway, if a woman has the gall, has the nerve to speak her own mind, and to speak her mind honestly, to give her opinion on something, be it art, politics, or anything else, at least on Twitter, right? She speaks her mind and she speaks it honestly, and it does not go in line with the whatever the current mainstream narrative is. Well, then we get a case of burn the witch, right? In this case, it is what, the third or fourth calling for Gina Carano to be fired from The Mandalorian. This time, it's because she put up a tweet basically criticizing Democrat leaders, right? A funny thing is, I think she put it up yesterday. I was actually scrolling through my Twitter feed when she posted it. And I will admit, the moment I saw her post it, I just went, oh, oh, people are going to be salty. Shots fired, shots fired. Indeed, have the shots been fired. Now, first of all, let me tell you guys exactly, especially if you don't have Twitter, and obviously I'm not going to be able to show it here, but I will link to it. But let me just take a moment and just pull up the image so that I can tell you exactly what it says. One moment. Sorry about that. Took me a little bit of time to find. So here's what it says. Here's what the so offensive image says. It says, breaking news. Democrat government leaders now recommend we all wear blindfolds along with masks so we can't see what's really going on. Now, some have said that this is a conservative. Some have said that this is a conservative tweet, right? I don't view it as a conservative thing. I view it as calling out the hypocrisy of the Democrat leaders of cities like New York and Chicago and what is it, Newsom? I think he's the governor of California or something like that. And I think what the governor in Detroit and many others, right, who locked down their cities, which hurt the businesses, locked people in their homes, which of course can be detrimental to mental health, right? Because humans are social animals, we need community. Right? It can be detrimental to mental health, it can be detrimental to physical health, right? While they continuously, flout their own rules, right? It's kind of like being above the law, or as Judge Dredd would say, I am the law, right? So I viewed it personally more as just simply calling out the hypocrisy that I have to admit seems to be being practiced on one side. This is not to say that the Republicans are innocent or that they don't have their own issues, but again, it's Lori Lightfoot, she's a Democrat. De Blasio and Cuomo are Democrats. Newsom, a Democrat, and so on and so on and so forth, right? So I just see it as calling it like she sees it. And I, at the very least, don't take it as necessarily a political statement or any indication of what her political leanings are, which really don't matter. But what happens, right? You get the fire Gina Carano hashtag, and as usual, there are people harassing her about it, trying to get her fired for what, the third, fourth, fifth, 100th time, because she dared to be a female and speak her own mind, right? So there's that, right? So there's a sincere case of a woman speaking her mind, calling out what she sees in the world via social media, and now she's getting, harassed for it. She's getting harassed for it. Now people, it was what, Trailer Drake, I think it is, it goes by online. He says he makes fun of conservatives uh, going to now Parlor, right? Calling them snowflakes, needing a safe space, using the image of snowflake and space as safe space from that god-awful New Warriors comic. And of course, when I call them out and I say, hey, maybe you're the one who needs a safe space, right? And then it's, oh, you're not familiar with my work. It's like, why the hell would I be? Why the hell would I want to be familiar with your work when your response to people leaving a platform is to act like a child, right? But anyhow, right, that is, right, that's sincere harassment towards a woman for simply expressing her opinion, which runs counter to the mainstream narrative, right? And then you have Anna, that Star Wars girl, who is being harassed, has been harassed for hours now from what I've noticed, because she said online that she didn't like the redesigns for the Netflix Shira show, right? She was comparing the original 80s version to Netflix one. I will admit, when I saw her tweets, I was like, I think you're a little late on this, Anna. But still, right? She expressed an opinion, right, that she didn't like them. She was going to do her own redesign of the redesigns, right? Instead of people just accepting that, hey, this person who happens to be a woman doesn't like these designs, now all the Netflix Shira stands, right? And some of them, of course, have come after me because, I've made comments like, hey, she has the right to her opinion. And of course, then, I'm apparently I'm too old, right? So they're being ageist and they're admitting that they're being ageist. I'm still getting comments. One person misgendered me intentionally, right? Because I responded to another person's tweet pointing out their hypocrisy of using trigger warnings and lying about what Anna was saying. So then the person comes back at me and is like, you shouldn't use that, sir, or whatever you are. I'm like, I'm a woman. I'm a woman. Maybe my name doesn't give it away, but the picture shows I'm female. My bio shows I'm a woman. This is not hard to figure out, okay? I may be a more masculine woman, being a tomboy and all, but I'm still a woman. And so I'm like, hey, well, you want to trigger? Well, now I'm triggered. You misgendered me. And of course now they're just trying to, be dismissive because they know their asses got caught. It's basically it. Right? But again, Anna's been harassed online for hours, and anybody who's been responding and especially defending her has been attacked more or less for hours, right? For no other reason than not liking the designs for a show. Now, if you've seen some of my older videos, you know that not too long ago, I did a video discussing some of the designs and what I thought about them. So this is the thing, right? If you, especially as a woman, you dare to step out of line, right? You dare voice your opinion and it's not the generally held opinion, well then, you must not be a real woman, or you must be a misogynist, or you must hate yourself, or like all these crazy asinine things they come up with all because you said, hey, I don't like this. So again, another case of sincere harassment of women because a woman dared to express a negative opinion about something that is, I guess, supposed to be generally seen as a positive thing. And then finally we have Anita Sarkieesian, who's again trying to stir the crap, who's again trying to be relevant because apparently some people don't want to let Gamergate die, even though most Gamergaters have moved on with their lives. But the anti-Gamergaters can't seem to let it go, right? They won't do the, I let it go, let it go. They just can't do it. But anyway, right, so she's complaining now about The Mandalorian, right? In particular, the scene where you see where Bo-Katan is introduced into the series in live action, right? She's complaining that Bo-Katan has uh, boob armor, right? Now, if you're familiar with Star Wars and the way the Mandalorians look, you'll know that they're male or female, they are always in full body armor, helmet and all. That was the case for the female armorer, who had that awesome fight scene towards the end of the first season. That's been the case for any female Mandalorian warrior. Bo-Katan, um, Sabine Wren, her mother Ursa Wren, pretty much any woman who was a Mandalorian who was featured in the show, in Clone Wars and in Rebels, right, the animated series. That's been a standard design. They have armor that is molded to fit their bodies. I could understand this to a certain degree if it was one of those things that you sometimes see in video games where a guy is in, like, you know, full head to toe armor and the woman's got like a what do they call it, like the chainmail bikini thing where her look is very fan servicey. Like, take the Jedi in Star Wars, right? Many of the male Jedi warriors, for example, right, usually wear, you know, full robes, you know, they don't show skin, right? Yet you had some female Jedi, for example, what's her name? Ayla Sakura, I think it was, right? Dressed in this very, you know, tight, revealing outfit. Now, of course, the explanation, at least to my understanding, according to the expanded universe, is that it was sort of a nod to the culture she came from, because her type of, I think she's a Twi'lek, something like that, right? But basically her kind, especially the women, were kind of taken as like the beautiful slave girls and all that. And they were used as dancers and entertainers and whatnot. So the expanded universe explanation is that her style of dress as a warrior, as a Jedi, because it's so rare, right? Most Jedi are dressed very conservatively, that it was a nod to the culture that she came from, and it's kind of like, you know, her refusing to be ashamed of how people who are not Jedi might view her, right? That was their explanation, right? Let's be honest, it's an excuse plot to have a sexy Jedi woman, and that's okay. But that's not what the issue was here. Anita's literally making a nothing burger out of something that is completely practical. In fact, as seen here in Bounding in the Comics, right, there are several tweets, several people responded, many women, myself included, more or less told Anita to take a hike, but there was one woman, I'm looking at it, I'm looking for it here. There was a woman named Ryan, interestingly enough, a woman named Ryan Lay, right, who responded. She was replying to Undoomed and to Anita, who says, Jesus, all the ways that body armor needs to change and 6 pounds lighter. This was in reference to the military trying to adapt their armor for women, right? So it says, Jesus, all the ways that body armor needs to change and 6 pounds lighter is what they come up with. Yeah, the gear is heavy, but we deal with it. The real problem is that the sappy plates are flat and smash against our breasts and flatten them, and it's so uncomfortable, right? And then another person mentions, right, that almost 50% of the planet, meaning women, have these fleshy mounds on our chest and hurt, and that hurts if they are squished too hard. Not everything you see is misogynistic, right? Which is true. This was absolutely no reason, no place for complaint. I thought that Katie, who's also voiced Bo-Katan in the animated series, that the character's been featured in Clone Wars and Rebels, I thought she looked great. The character has always basically been Katie Sackhoff in Mandalorian armor, so we just got the live action version of it. I thought it was very good. Here's here's the thing. There are so many things that could have been celebrated, that Anita could have been happy with, right? Seeing a prominent female Mandalorian warrior, right? Seeing that because it's three people, Bo-Katan and two others, right? One male, one female. So you would have thought that someone like her, who's always so obsessed with female representation, would be happy to see that in the little three-person group, right, that comes to save the Mandalorian, that two of them are females, and one of the women is the leader, right? Bo-Katan has a very long history, and even the episode is called The Heiress. The Heiress referring to her, right? So basically a royal warrior woman, I guess you could say. I can't think of a better term, right? And how dare she have boob armor to protect her upper body, to protect the gals? It's like, what is the problem here? She literally made a problem out of nothing. And then there was another response that I saw online which pointed out the fact that even female police officers, right, have to wear body armor, right, molded to their upper body, molded to their chest, because, you know, body armor is this thing that can potentially, hopefully, stop a bullet if someone shoots at you, and it just might save your life. So kind of helps if you're a female and it's properly molded to your upper body. So here we actually have Star Wars doing it right? Featuring a strong female character who's the lead of the hero team, I guess you could say, who saves the Mandalorian, right? The other woman who was in the scene is a woman of color, from best I can tell. So many things Anita could have been, happy about. Yet, she chose to be salty. She chose to pick on something that was not an issue, wasn't an issue at all, and complain about it because she needs attention. She needs attention. So now she's calling all the responses and the clapbacks, a lot of them from women, harassment, right? Because of course that's what she does. She's been doing this for years, right? She says something, it gets people riled up, people respond to her, and then she cries harassment. The difference, the one decent thing about this, if there can be a decent thing about it, is that unlike in years past, no one takes her seriously anymore. Right? Ever since she made a fool of herself, mistaking Sargon for Thunderfoot, and then a short time after that, bullying Boogie 2988 or whatever he calls himself, right before he kind of became hated by the internet. But prior to that, people were very sympathetic toward him, very protective of him, and then, but he told his story of interacting with her. And, he told everybody, how she had bullied him and how that had upset him because, he has a lot of, struggle, let's say, with public speaking and being around people and all that. So, right, pretty much since those two things happened, people have pretty much disregarded her. She knows this. And that's why she says these things, right? That's why she says these things, because she needs attention. She wants to be relevant again. Fortunately, most people don't seem to listen to her anymore. Few will defend her, but most don't listen to her anymore. But the sad thing about Anita is that the damage has already been done, right? I do believe that her influence will fade over time, but it's going to take a long time before her influence in video games and on video games and devs and whatnot fades away, right? So she's done her damage, right? She has done her damage. And now she's simply trying to go on to damage something else that's already incredibly embattled, because you have people already, whether it's Leslie Headland or others, saying that, I think even what's-his-face, Doomcock, did a video on it recently with some woman who was going back and forth with Pedro Hidalgo, I think his name is, right, saying that, Star Wars Mandalorian needed more women. And although, there were all these Kathleen Kennedy and others at the executive position, she's like, no, because of the Baby Yoda eating the frog woman's eggs and genocide thing, right? We need more women in the writer's room and all this other stuff. And it's like, can we stop? This type of thing makes people not to want to hire women. You want to get people to sincerely hate females? Keep doing this stuff, right? Keep harassing actual women who express their opinion, and keep listening to women who are disingenuous. And what you will get is that you will get fractured fandoms who can't trust women anymore, who are going to freak at the sight of a woman regardless of what her opinions or feelings or stances are on anything. And yes, sooner or later these spaces are going to become the He-Man Woman Haters Club, I think it's called, that these people erroneously label things like video games or Star Wars or whatnot as. These spaces will eventually become what they say they are, right? It's like when a person's accused of like cheating, right? Cheating on their significant other, right? At first, the person denies it and denies it and denies it because they're not cheating. But at a certain point, a person gets frustrated enough, and it's quite possible that in their frustration, they go, you know what? If you're going to accuse me of this, I might as well just go and do it and prove you right. And then they go and do it, and it just makes everything worse, right? Now, of course, is that the right way to respond to such a thing? No, it's not. But it is a very human one. And I think that's what we are going to see as time goes on if this type of thing continues, and especially since no one at Lucasfilm speaks up, no one at Disney, no one at Marvel, right? None of the people who could actually kind of like, tamp this down and rein this in ever speak up and say, hey, stop fighting. Hey, stop being disingenuous. And it just becomes this incredibly vicious circle, which is only going to hurt fandom and communities in the end. And at this point, I think that's exactly what the people who harass Anna, that Star Wars girl, and harass Gina, and what people, grifters like Anita, want. They want friction and division. They want to break up and take away things that once brought people together, right? Things that people used to come together under, right? Maybe you were different in every other way, but you were a sports fan, or you were a comic fan, or you were a fan of Star Wars, whatever it was, right? This one thing that you had in common, right? Maybe everything else was different. Religion, race, ethnicity, orientation, political views. Everything else was completely diametrically opposed, but this one thing was the one thing you had in common, the one thing that brought you together, and the one thing you could agree on. And now we have disingenuous people, bad actors, right, in media, trying to take that from people, either by harassing actual people like Anna, like Gina Carano, who actually speak their minds and say, hey, I don't like this, I don't agree with this, or with people like Anita on the other side, who make baseless accusations, which sadly are believed because they have a narrative. First, they have a narrative that is marketable to the mainstream, right? Anita's narrative has always been, I am a strong, independent woman, but come save me from the meanie boys. Even when the people responding to her are female. So let's please remember, and please remember what actual harassment of women online is, right? It's not someone mean tweeting you, which, believe me, I've received a couple of ever since I have been on Twitter, but that's not harassment, right? This type of thing, right? Trying to take a woman's job, trying to get her fired, accusing a woman, in truth, a person, I want to say, but I'm talking about women in this case. But this applies to anybody, right? But saying meanie words online is not harassment. Trying to get a woman fired. Trying to call a woman sexist, racist, homophobic, right? A sexual deviant, and all these other things just because she doesn't like the art you like. That's harassment. Lying about something and making a nothing burger out of something is harassment. So please, when someone asks the question, or someone talks about female harassment, please keep these three women in mind. Okay, keep these three women in mind, and keep in mind how two are legitimately harassed for speaking their minds, and one is the harasser because she stirs up crap that is not needed. But anyway, that's the video. Please let me know what you think. I will see you all in the next one. Have a good day or night, everybody. Bye.